My name is Scott Lapierre. This is my wife Ade, and I am a heart transplant survivor. About 2013, I started noticing that I was losing athletic ability and not able to run as hard or as long as I might like to. And I thought maybe it was just me turning 40. And I noticed that I was getting worse with exercise. When I was told I was needed a heart transplant, I was shocked because it was basically right upon my discovery of cardiomyopathy or congestive heart failure. I thought I was too young for this. One of the things at St. Luke's that really made me feel comforted and really impressed me was the army of people involved in my transplant. So the behind the scenes of a transplant program like here at St. Luke's is really a large effort, and no one in that effort is mailing it in. Everyone is just very professional, very experienced. Life now for me, 4 months out from my transplant, is as if it never happened, as if I never had anything to complain about. It is truly remarkable reset. I'm already jogging now 3.2 miles, bicycling 11 miles every day in between, and I'm sprinting up the stairs to take showers afterwards. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm Smokey Rashid. I'm 52 years old. I'm from New York City originally. I was 46 when I first discovered that I had heart issues. Went to the cardiologist and they put a Holter monitor on me, and I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I thought it might have been sort of like a cold or something like that. And after they installed the pacemaker, they discovered that I had something more significantly wrong with me, which turned out to be cardiac sarcoidosis. When I woke up from my transplant, I was really foggy, but my senses were with me. And I asked, "Did you do it?" And they said, "Yes, we did." And I remember just feeling like for the rest of my life, I don't have to worry about a new heart again. Physically, I'm exercising. I returned to work 6 weeks after my transplant. I take care of my body. I'm very respectful of the donor gift I got. I think about my donor every day. When I drive past the medical center or find myself in one of the buildings, I feel like it's one of the institutions that will be among the most important in my life. And I have tremendous affection for this institution. This is exactly a second chance at life. I think that I will participate in my kids' life in ways I couldn't imagine before. I look forward to every day.
My name is Godfrey Viscount. I'm from Houston, Texas. About 30 years ago, I was a test pilot. I consequently was involved in an accident where I was forced to eject from an aircraft. I sustained quite a few injuries from that. It pushed my diaphragm up into my chest when I ejected. Basically, in 2012, I was no longer able to function. I found out what was wrong with me, that I had interstitial pulmonary fibrosis. From that day forward, my medical would no longer be active. So a pilot's license without a medical is meaningless. So after the course of 4.5 years, I finally went to my pulmonist. I had been to the major hospitals. He told me, he said, "You haven't been to Baylor St. Luke's." He said, "I want you to go to Baylor St. Luke's and I want you to go tomorrow." The next day I met with Dr. Lapierre and he gave me some hope. Basically 60 days later, I was transplanted. I realized after waking up from the transplant, just a wave of humility came over me because I realized I had a new birth date, July 16th, 2017. Dr. Lapierre and his staff helped me through this and get to the point where I was in good enough physical shape to where I could go back, get my medical back. And that means the world to me because that means I can get back into the air again. Without it, I'd still be on the ground.
My name is John H Guidry. I'm from Missouri City, Texas, and I'm 66 years of age. Well, my first encounter with Baylor St. Luke's was in 1997. Initially, I started to have symptoms of dizziness, so I was referred to St. Luke's where a catheterization was performed to determine how severe things were. And at that time, it was determined my injection infraction, which is the pumping action of the heart, was at 20%. Fortunately, on June 12th of 2000, Dr. Frazier came to my room around 10 o'clock that evening, and he said, "John, we're looking at a possible heart for you tonight." I was so happy, and one thing I really liked that night, everyone on the floor, before I left, they came into the room, and they made a circle, and we all joined hands, and they prayed that, everything would go well with me. And that meant a lot to me, so. And after 6 months, I was able to go back to work. In 2011, I retired because unfortunately in 2009, I had a bout of rejection. And one thing about transplant, when we talk to patients who come to our support group, we always tell them, rejection can happen at any time. So if you don't feel good, something doesn't seem right, check out. At that time, I called the house Dr. Lyoka. He did some more testing and found out that the heart, was either damaged from the rejection or from, maybe, some other elements. But nevertheless, I needed another transplant. When I got here in 2014, they had told me prior to that I would need a kidney transplant also, probably with the heart. The heart was done on August 26, 2014, and the kidney the next day, August 27th, 2014. Now, I keep busy with my volunteer work at the hospital, with the Heart Exchange Support Group. We visit transplant patients every Wednesday. We have our support group meeting first. My wife always tells me when I get home, they're always so happy all the time after you come back from the hospital. And I said, well, if you're able to help someone who went through the same things you're going through, help give them a little encouragement, I said, it just makes you feel, so good, like you've, done something for someone, It's a good feeling,
My name's Mike Norton, and I'm a heart transplant recipient. In my late teens, I was diagnosed with IHSS. My heart got weaker and weaker. For about 35 years, I've been a landscape photographer. I've been to a lot of national parks and a lot of national forests, but over the years, I got to where I couldn't go up the trails. In July of 2016, my cardiologist, Dr. George, told me that I needed to be on the heart transplant list. So I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks while they did tests, and on November the 5th, one of the nurses stuck her head in and said, "They're gonna call you." About that time, the phone rang, and it was one of the coordinators said they had a heart for me. What I noticed about St. Luke's was all the people there were confident, and they're committed to helping people. They're committed to listening to the patients. My donor was 15 years old. He was on the football team, the baseball team, the track team. He took advanced classes and was in the Boy Scouts. When I found that out, I thought, well, I've got an obligation. I've got to get out and do these things that I want to do. For him, for his family, and for all the people at St. Luke's that put in all the hard work to get me where I am. I started walking 2 days after the transplant. They got me out of bed to walk. And when I got home, I started walking. I got up to 2 miles, 3 miles fairly quickly. I've been working out, hiking, riding the bicycle to get in shape for this hike up Half Dome. It's 16 miles round trip and it goes up 4,800 feet. Just attempting something like that before the transplant would have been as much a fantasy to me as living on the moon. Appreciate every day that I have now because it's a gift. It was a gift from my donor family, it's a gift from the people at St. Luke's, and it's a gift from everybody who prayed for me.